6:30, I'm gonna call for the, Monday, October 21st, meeting, and, roll call, please.
Alderman Racine.
Here.
Alderman Hudson.
Present.
Alderman Wilson.
Present.
Alderman Decker.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Present.
Alderman Magley.
Yeah. All right. If I can hear my stand, please. Thank you. Just need a full public hearing. Part A, B, one is amend the code, chapter 31, section 3, 24. Want to give us a quick overview of that.
Yeah, so there was a proposed amendment made to chapter 30, section 31, to clarify the higher density zoning, the acceptable lot size for single, family, and multi-family homes. So previously there was a scrivener's error with the code was originally drafted, taking language from Boone County into this ordinance. Clarify and make it more clear the lot size requirements for a single-family dwelling, two-family, and more. Change to the R amendment. If you do, would you please come to the state your name and speak?
Baca 810 South Traffic. I was just curious what was the lot sizes.
So the lot size for single family and for multi-family dwelling is 6,000 square feet under the new proposed ordinance, and for any multi-family dwelling above a two-family dwelling is 2,500 square foot per family. Are you gonna make a Liberty map?
It won't say 50 feet across the front, minimum.
You still have your front lot setback. Lot betterment, but this is basically lot size.
Okay.
Thank you. Planning and zoning recommended was that we leave the single family at 6,000 square feet, but that we change the two family to 10,000 square feet and spell that out specifically in the ordinance. Language that was proposed there. And that does align with Boone County's regulations. They have spelled out that it's two family with 10,000 square feet in any category.
You guys have the ability to substitute lot sizes if you'll see your previously had authorized 6,000 square feet. You can take it, but I know if Don does is correct. This is the code, the minimum lot size for any like 15,000 highlighted in the ordinance for previously on the 6,000 square foot lot size. For this one, is what basically
said, so. Yeah, Susan L. Shire, 316 South Rollins, so on behalf of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which we felt, it was our recommendation to change the R3 code language to provide that it would be a 6,000 minimum single-family resident, 10,000 square foot minimum for the multifamily duplex, say, residents on the lot size. And that is the recommendation.
Any other comments? On item A, again, some praise to four. Not, we will move to item B, rezoning 601 South Central, from R1 to R2. And, taking comments on that, or I'll take the from you with what.
That's again, Susan L. Shire, from South Rollins. So, last week during the Planning and Zoning Commission, we made the recommendation to not approve the rezoning, 601 South Central from R1 to R2. That came on the behalf of there not already being a precedent in that specific neighborhood. And given the location and the neighboring statements of the local neighborhood there, we felt that it was not in the best interest for the city to rezone that specific from R1, maintaining the integrity of that in the field of town.
If that's the case, I will close the public hearing of A and B. This will move us to final comments from citizens. At this time, we'll start to take comments from citizens, state your name and your address. Also, you'll have 3 minutes if you want to. And I'll throw. I would like this thing too, just, I know there's a lot of people here for, a couple of things, different things, but we, the board, do not have in front of us anything to do with, or to vote on, or to discuss the, communication, joint communication.
So, for those of you who may not know me, I am Nicole. I have served our community as dispatcher for a total of 14 years. Let me start with this. I'm an intelligent woman. I have many skills to include being a certified phlebotomist, pharmacy tech, and all of those capabilities on my resume. This is not about me. This is about removing an important service for our community. I've lived in and raised my children with great team. I wasn't a dispatcher with the police department. I still want the service available to not only myself and my family, but all citizens in Centralia. So I feel compelled to speak to you today. As a citizen, I have been able to call a police department and get citizens that were non-emergency, but I certainly didn't think it was necessary to call 319. I just needed someone local who knew me, who knew what I was talking about, what we're talking about. Being a citizen, I have personally to utilize our department for many issues, and when I've learned very quickly by the response of our large number of people in this town, they felt the same. The door being open has always been available to our community, and possibly closing, you will be able to serve what to. If dispatchers on duty 24/7 are gone, the people at Centralia will have to call someone in Columbia that knows nothing about you or your family. Centralia dispatchers are better able to serve you because we do know you. I'm positive that there are wonderful and caring people at Denny County Joint Communications, especially most of us sign up as a responder because we do care a great deal for people in general. But they will not be able to help our community in the way that we do. Centralia PD is thankfully not a busy community, and I thank God for that. We have slow days for sure, like any job, but we definitely have crazy busy days. And it's on those days that make me proud what I do in my skills is many times our job is dealing with people that are seeking help. Whether it be suicidal subject, domestic violence, all the other little things that people can possibly. Although our line is non-emergency, the dispatchers take many calls that are emergency and handle them with great response time. Some calls are rather minor, such as on the roadway, we know which one you call. Got a beehive, we have the local keepers numbers. I'm not at liberty to discuss a great detail with personal experiences with my call taking, especially in big cases due to confidentiality. I'm going to share a couple of minor incidences that occurred over the weekend, as it won't be revealing any identities. I truly wish one of you could have sat with me this past Saturday in dispatch. We were busy. We took calls and dispatch calls, but I'm the one that did most of all the legwork. We had a few, these are minor things, we had a few parked cars illegally. Instead of towing, I was able to actually contact people on Facebook, and they contacted me, very thankful, I'm trying to get through this. Another car, was actually an owner, I was able to get hold of the owner of the building of where this person lived. So we didn't have any right to tow, which if it hadn't been for me doing that legwork, we might have towed. So the final example I'm going to use from Saturday is we got a call to check welfare on an elderly woman. There were a few concerns that our neighbors had. She's been known to have medical issues, so the officers were truly worried. They ended knocking on the door. I decided to do the thing that we do. On myself, without being asked to go that extra mile to help both citizens and our officers. I took a look at our customer listing and located her phone number. I got it, I called, she answered, I confirmed she was okay. So basically, I the officers from breaking down her door. Again, trying to keep this as fast as I can. So, and I followed up the reporting pretty. There is no way I can stress the importance of keeping the dispatchers local. Our dispatchers truly call with response time that truly cannot compare. I disagree with your statement there. To a very busy communication, serving a few 100,000 people in Columbia and surrounding areas. Very simply, what will not be able to do what we do locally for you and your family and all the citizens who realize you've been given statistics on the response time, but we're still faster. They have a protocol list of questions that they have to be asked before they can even dispatch the call. We take the calls immediately, and most important information already gets called to the officers, and they're responding, and then we're getting more information and typing it in and updating. And I have an example of that where we went to a.
I need to direct them.
Alrighty. With all this being said, I will ask you this last time to reconsider this decision, intimate services in local, keeping all things local. I truly cannot imagine the challenges each of you make in deciding decisions for the city. And I respect for you for the volunteer time that you give with this. I am grateful for everything that the city has done for me, and it's been my privilege to be serving something bigger than me.
Hey guys, I'm Austin Vigo here with the Tri-PD. Just a couple things that kind of we've noted here for law enforcement when it comes to kind of dealing with the situation and dealing with the joint. I know you guys have seen all the joint and all that stuff. But in the real world, things are slightly different. So what we see is delayed calls. We had a situation where one of the dispatchers reached out to joint. We have a line that's called the Viper line. The direct communication with joint from us. He was on hold for 15 minutes trying to get a call transferred over to the PD. And it goes without saying that happens quite frequently. Some of the calls and stuff that we see here that kind of comes in without, again, going into great detail. I have a prime example, one I have today. I redacted all the names and all the information, so if you guys want to look at the note. It came in as a 10-year-old individual where the father had potentially abducted her, and he was known to have firearms. We started scouring through the town to see if we can locate this individual. The local dispatch was trying to gather more information. Turns out it was actually two 10-year-old females that we're actually seeing during the summer, but none of that information, last seeing during the summer, none of that information is relayed to us. So while we're spending the time and resources kind of searching for the town, like I said, dispatch was doing great by contacting the individual and getting more information. What ended up happening was the only known location here in town that these individuals even replied to was a grandmother that potentially lived here in town. All of this happened in Florida. None of this was even tied back to us. But these are the stuff that Joint constantly messes up on when the calls come to us. We responded to a range on street where a burglary alarm was going off, right? While me and another officer were going around the local businesses to make sure that, everything was secured up and as it should be, Joint put the note in that they contacted the homeowner that lives there, and it turned out it was a false alarm. Nobody lives on Range on Street here in the city of Detroit. There's 2 businesses located back there, and that's it. But these are the things that need to get constantly censored on all of this call. But like I said, it's your guys' decision to kind of do whatever you can. But in the real world, what we're seeing is wrong. And my fear is moving forward with that, it's just going to be a constant. I want to bring this to your attention. Let's call notes here if anybody does want to look at these. Like I said, all the names, everything were redacted. You guys need to do this?
Hi, I'm Janet Markham, with Movie and I think, I got a couple of questions first, and then I want to go in and just tell you all the story. Can any of you right now, just give me off the top of your head, money will be saving $150,000, $68,000? What's your plan on any specific place that might be going, or is it going to be spread around? And that's just one question.
I'll take that question. The savings we would estimate, I guess, if we were to put this and figure out what we're gonna need for coverage, right? And for administrative stuff in the police department, we want to make sure that that's covered. So that's a thing that you have to take into consideration. But I'm gonna say that, with the 4% increase that's coming this coming year into the budget for all personnel and their pay, it will be over $300,000, about $307,000 right in that neighborhood, too close to the penny for dispatching. What I do know as far as money being spent, and saved would be, I don't know what taxes we paid since we passed it in 2013. Go on to joint communications fully. So we use that partially, but we also then subsidize it with our own dispatching since 2013. I'm trying to get the numbers together to understand how much we've spent, that citizens voted in on dispatching over the last 11 years. I think it's going to be an astronomical number, probably close to $2 million that we spent on dispatching. So I'm looking at all of that. We're looking at all things. And this did not start out as a, 2 years ago we talked about it, but this did not start out as a money saving thing, which is, I think, something that's been publicized after a little bit. If you think that way, we won't have money. But I'm going to guess it's going to be probably around $200,000 to $220,000 in 25 that we'll have in excess money to be applied to other things within the general budget, back in the general budget, or whatever most we'll get started to do. People think that, I just mentioned we have $1 million for the streets to take down and that kind of thing that we do. That's not driving this decision. We don't believe that you should take that into consideration to change a service we have. So, it would be about probably 225, somewhere in that neighborhood that we probably would save. I think it's a safe estimate. Depending on personnel, yeah, it just depends on how the budgeting goes and what we need it for, because budgeting is become like our, I'll say that. I think that keeps me up at night. I worry about cost of, escalators, poles, wire, whatever it may be. So, yeah.
We really don't, the other question I have is we really don't have any guarantee that these employees we employ now as dispatchers will be hired. They're just being the option to, is that the way I'm understanding you correctly? Okay, that answers
discussions that we had with them, we've had two discussions, to be very transparent, we've had two discussions with no communication. Well, first, with this, kickoff meeting to find out what the options were. I had a discussion with one of the commissioners, and had asked about, I asked about joint communications and the fact that, we had been led to believe in the past that, Paul Lane was doing things like that. Wasn't run very well, didn't want to talk about me back at that time either, when I looked at it. That being said, as we talked about that, the first thing I mentioned was about our employees. That's the first thing you think about, people are going to be affected, right? So in doing so, they absolutely are welcome more than any of our personnel to have the opportunity to, apply, no question. We give them, consideration. The fact that they meet criteria for the job that they do there, the office there, and then that command center. I have no problem giving letters of recommendation. We end up going this way for any of the people we have. We have a good view, no question about that. It's absolutely no question. And so as we go through this process and this planning and what we're doing, we're taking everything into consideration and trying to make sure that we help those folks. I will say too that if this happens, it does happen, there will be this will not go into effect until the new year, until the April 1st. So if the decision made, any of our employees presently here will have the opportunity, without question, have plenty of time to look for an opportunity to find employment for someone, if not there, somewhere else, and we can try to help somebody at that point.
Yeah, thank you, that cleared that up, and we appreciate that. That being said, I know that we need to get off here as quick as we can, and I just want to tell two quick stories. And please bear with me if I don't get them one.
Do I also remember that there was some sort of offer? Yeah, they had like.
They've got job chatting for those folks, to see if it's something they want to do. I mean, you want to make sure it's something you want to do, you have the passion to do. So, yeah, that was another part of it.
Yeah.
We're trying to do everything we can. We're walking through this,
Yeah,
vetting this situation.
new steps and that,
Yeah.
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 Two more quick things now, I'll get out of your way. I think the first thing that I want to say is, two little stories quickly. The other day, I think about 2 days ago, as I was coming north on Jefferson Street, sirens started to come, and first responders were running, heading south. And as we moved forward, coming this way, we looked down, and here was a huge red bag laying in the middle of the street, and a clipboard and some paperwork. And we stopped very quickly and picked that up. I did not know what to do with it, because you can't follow the fire department. We did look around and try to hear for something, didn't know where to take it, because evidently it fell out of the back and one of the boys stuff or something. And in this town, there was not going to be anybody in the fire department, naturally. But I could walk into the door of our city dispatch and tell them, so we could get valuable stuff back to where it is. That's not going to be there anymore. But that's just one little story. And please bear with me if I can't get through this next one. But I happened to be in Cooper County one night. And I got a call from my son. And it said, "Any help?" I dialed 911, gave them my son's address, which is Alderman County. But when I say Centralia to them, because that's where he lives, they called Boone County. So here I am, Cooper County's called, Alderman County's called, Boone County's called. And my son was in trouble. And I knew that, and you all know what happened. But all the time that I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Because I've got people going everywhere. I always knew that in the back of my mind, I could call somebody up here and they would know if Kyle Marcus needed help. And they probably would be able to get somebody to the right place. I ended up calling Steve Booker, first responder. He said, "Please get out there. and knock that door down and save my son. And unfortunately, that wouldn't happen. It's just a personal story in one of the beliefs why I want us to stay, even though I want to save $200,000. I want us to stay the small town that we are. Right now, we walk into the bank and don't know anybody. Already, we're losing some of that. Let's stay what we are. That's just my opinion.
Nancy Baca. Um, first of all, I just want to let you know I did not learn about this on social media. And I'm just really upset that people keep saying that that's all I know is what was on social media. I did reach out to my aldermen, both of them, and ask for a public forum. The one emailed me back and said that he would bring it up at the next meeting to let them know that I asked for a public forum. The other one showed up at my office today. The first one who emailed me did not tell me that I could come tonight and talk about the issue. I found out there was a Board of Alderman meeting tonight. I put it out there on Facebook a couple weeks ago. Tonight was Board of Alderman meeting. And just hope that I would have a chance to talk tonight. I had another alderman show up at my office today. They just asked me if I was coming tonight. And, you know, basically, it was a little uneasy, I gotta tell you. He's a friend of mine. You know, the business community partner. A little disturbed about some other comments that he made. I believe that the police dispatchers are a service to Cincinnati. That's my only agenda. We had excellent trash service. That's gone away. Our police dispatchers are a service to our community. Are we paying extra? Yes. Do we pay extra for service? Have a wedding over the weekend. Dish it out. They give me great service, you're going to pay for the great service. That's what we pay for. We pay for 2 libraries in this community. 2 libraries. Where's that money going? Why do we have 2 libraries? A lot of you may not know. A lot of these subdivisions around here, that money is going to Columbia, not to here, not to our local people. My agenda is not to save individuals' jobs. It's to save local jobs. Any of us can go to Columbia and make $7 more an hour. Can you? Most of us who are working in Centralia want to be here, to be in our community, to be there to get our kids to school, to be able to be there for their home games. These are local jobs that are providing a service to our community. One of the aldermen today told me when I said that police dispatchers were more than just dispatchers. They are helpers to our police department. He said that was the wrong answer. And he said that they should not be their secretaries. I'm going to let you know how many community events I've been on with our police department, with our fire department. And those volunteers at that place is National Night Out. Who's working those event booths? Dispatchers. Who's working the Anchor Fest? Dispatchers. Who's working anything that we got something going on? They're there to help us. Nicole just sat there and read all these different things that she's doing as a local dispatcher. That is not a secretary. That is very disturbing to me. any of us know in our community what we do to step up to this. We pay for service. I'm not here to say one individual's job. I'm here to ask for everybody to think about keeping local jobs here. And yes, it costs money. That's what private service is. We've been paying it on about 2013 saving numbers. It's totally irrelevant to go back and say, well, you approved this in 2013 and it hasn't gone into play. And so this is how much money we've wasted. We don't want to start talking about money that's been wasted, do we? I don't think so. I'm not even going to start that today. But I just want you to understand that my agenda is service. I believe the police dispatchers are a service to our community. I'm willing to pay the money. You've all been paying the money, and I don't understand why that's an issue.
Good evening, Bob Wyatt from 119 South Walnut. 15 years in the city of Cincinnati, serving the community. I've seen the things the dispatchers do. I know the dispatchers, how they're dedicated, how they love what they do. Guys, I deal with 911 at least once a week in joint communication. The times I've been put on hold for 15 and 20 minutes at a time, just been several in the last 2.5 weeks. If I call 2132, I know someone's paying. Emergency or non-emergency, doesn't matter. The fact is, you're making a mistake if you even consider it. Yeah, we've been paying tax since 2013. Okay, so what? You're taking $200,000. Okay. I know that you're having problems making budget. I don't know. I've been books a long time. Don't need to. You know those guys over there wearing those uniforms? I know they feel a lot better having a local dispatch center. Knowing that they can call on the radio and say, hey, I need help now. Either calling somebody out or calling somebody on the radio, whatever it is. I talked to the guys in certain communication. You know, everybody, just about everybody down there. I've had conversations with them. Yeah, they're capable. But what's a life? What is it? Is it worth $200,000? I kind of guess mine's worth more than that. But just be considerate of your local people. I mean, it's a service that they provide. If we go forward and get rid of it, we can't go back. So, folks, I cannot stress enough what those folks in that room do. I don't do that job anymore. That's okay. Because I know these guys carry them. So, be considerate. Think about it all. Don't think about it as a dollar sign. I think it's not what we're looking at as a month. I would urge you to have a public hearing. Yeah, there's several people here, but I know there's a lot of folks that want to be here that can't. I urge you to have a public hearing on it, and this isn't necessarily the proper one. You all can be here all night long. So, have that hearing where we can say, hey, this is the issue where we're at. Appreciate your knowledge.
I'm Taylor Charles. Going to speak, but these people's words kind of got me motivated, and so I have a couple of things to say as well. I don't have anything prepared, and I'm probably not going to be as eloquent as they are, but reading the little note that was here, it's got me kind of a couple things to say. The last paragraph says that you guys wanted to service that you are committed to full transparency through the process. And I hope that's true because I haven't really seen any of that. I was making phone calls at 6 o'clock tonight because I was like, is this the number? This last week? And I was getting, I don't know, nobody really knew. So I do hope that, you know, if you're considering this, I hope that you do be a little bit more upfront about when people can come and talk about it. I think people at Tillman is a pretty good use for them. And then one other second thing I had was in that paper it says that the way we have 911 set up now is we call them and it goes to the joint and then there's a delay. So before it gets there. So what you're saying is that the way we do it now is better than the way 911 does it. So we're going to get rid of the way we do it. That doesn't really make sense. We should probably do what works better. And everything else everybody else does, I agree with as well. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, something I was going to bring up, I appreciate the transparency part, but it's no intent for us to not want you folks to be able to speak your mind. If you know me, I have no problem with you guys coming up and the whole concept of what how you feel. We're not looking to do that at all. That won't be a part of what we do. What I'll say is this, it wasn't on the agenda tonight, so there'll be comments and citizens an opportunity to speak about a specific thing before we take it up and meet on it. Okay? So that's why I made the comment earlier tonight. Don't know if you all heard about this, so I'm not sure who came in when. So, but so the point is, I mentioned that we weren't at all, it wasn't on the agenda tonight. We weren't voting on it tonight. We weren't considering it tonight in any way, shape, or form. So we're trying to make sure that it's very clear. You can always come for comments from citizens, and it'll be on the agenda. You'll see it on the agenda if it's something that's going to tell us the board wants you consider to vote on. If that makes sense, okay? Just, you know that.
Yeah, that's all I.
I think it's a great point, because I want this to be gotten out to people hear that, if they know that we hide from people's feedback on it at all. And secondarily, the way joint communications works today is all 911 calls go to joint communication. Then they dispatch it back here. So they dispatch it back here because we're the local support. The 311 call, the 911 calls that are non-emergent, non-medical, they keep the medical calls. But the other 911 calls come back in. Correct?
Sometimes. I mean, we get calls, I used to work there, so you get calls directly sometimes that people don't want to call 911, so they call directly to our police department. We don't.
Well, yeah, I understand, and that might be a possibility if we go through with this, so that it can be considered, right? All things to be considered. So thank
What, we won't be able to call the police department directly? Like you just said?
you, during we'll talk about it all further from there, but it will not be a dispatching center if we move to joint communication. Period.
The police department is an abbreviated dial on my office. I mean, I call the police department directly.
Well, that'll be
But even on my cell phone, non-emergency and emergency.
I just have one question,
That's disturbing.
and I know I'm not trying to hear from.
yeah, it's not gonna be an open forum, we're gonna have a forum tonight, yes, I'll take it.
So this open forum, to make it transparent, we'll be using Facebook, we'll be putting it in the paper.
I'm not sure.
Not
I
sure.
can't speak on that one.
I think that's what happened, a little bit,
We'll do everything,
I stopped the call, we all had no.
we'll do everything we try to put the paper, we'll try to do several places. Yeah, thank you.
Well, at any time, you can go on to the city's website and see if there's anything that's kind of funny. See, that's where I was, because anytime you go into the city, just, not everybody has that access. Not everybody has that access, but yes.
I'm gonna reel it back
Yeah.
in, more comments from citizens.
I did have 5 this week that reached out. I won't read through them all, but I did dialogue with 4 of them, Nancy being one of them. We did exchange some emails. After dialogue, and I'll say those that responded and understood the history, the end of those, still ended up with one who was okay, they understood, but 3 were still against.
I had one, email that, was against, and I reached out with a reply and they figured it out.
Thank you for that. Open dialogue.
I reached out to Donnie also, he didn't say that, but I reached out to him.
Oh, yeah, no, no. That's why I had one.
I want on public record that I reached out to you.
All right, since with that, I'll close comments from citizens at this time. We'll move on to the consent agenda, which I would take as a request from Alderman, to accept all of A, B, C, D, E, and F. Government meeting minutes, public works utility meeting minutes, government and public safety committee meeting minutes, planning and zoning minutes, collector's report, and activities. Okay, first and second consent agenda of A through F as one, all in favor? All opposed, it passes. Now move to item 7, which will be account payable over $50, total of $492,098.19.
Move that we accept account payable of $1,250 for the total of $492,098.19.
First, a full second, approving the account payable of $1,250, total $492,098.19. All in favor? All opposed? All right, that moves us to the action agenda, finance, a motion for approving budgeted inter-fund transfer. $1,500 for the electric fund to the cemetery fund, $50,000 for the water fund to the general fund, and $200,000 from the electric fund to the general fund. Just fire.
This is passed, budget at the end of March. These are the transfers that are done. Administrative.
Is this the fourth time we've done this with you this day? The fourth time we've done it.
Yeah.
Once annually, we talk all this and we go. Hold on. Make a motion to approve the interfund. Second. First and second to approve the interfund transfers. All in favor? All opposed, pass. Leading. This goes back up to, A, there will not be, not have it on the regular business. Public hearing. but it's not listed on here, so we can't, it won't be on. 601 will not be on. So let's move to legal establishing lot size for R3 zoning. That's the one we're talking about with the square footage change to match. Well, we're at, that we're at, Boone County, excuse me, yeah, Boone County, Boone County, exactly. So, Boone County
Wording is, earlier, 6,000 for 10,000.
2,500 per unit of R3, and we're what states 10,000 to this line up with them. That was the recommendation from, the planning zone. So, say that again. I'm confused because there's so many numbers here today.
So previously, when you all passed, and I pulled this up, it's in section 2019, was that a resolution? It was for planning and zoning to correct R3 lots. Match food. In the language, it changed. That for single family dwellings, the minimum lot size would be 6,000 or 2,500 square feet per family. When this first came to our attention, the question was, what was the minimum lot size of the current draft of the ordinance for R3 for a duplex? And in my interpretation was 6,000, and because of the word and 2,500 square feet per family, lot size 6,000 plus 25 plus 25, so we did math not be like 11,000 square feet, thank you. However, that is not consistent with being the lot size is different. So this board has the ability to decide the lot. What I sought to clarify was you wanted 6,000 square feet. And in fact, your planning and zoning commission boards have approved duplexes over 6,000 square feet. That was prior attorney. So in order to be consistent with how you have interpreted it, meaning R3 lot size for anything above single family or single family duplex, multi-family, or single family duplex, 6,000 square feet, anything above duplex is 2,500 square feet. Made it clear. So, what you have before you in the packet is a clarification that single family dwelling, minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet. Multi-family above is 2,500 square feet per family. Does that make sense?
The planning and zoning recommended 10,000 for R3. Is that what you all said?
The recommendation of the planning and zoning was 6,000 as specified for a single family home and for a duplex in a two-family home with 10,000 square feet. And that's the two specifications that came out of the plan. Was to clean up that language so that it was very clear. Right.
But they match those a lot, but it's very
There are reasons for that.
Well, I think we know what to do. I mean, right now, I get it.
I would just say I'm an older person.
Anybody have questions about it? Can put it in the county and.
We definitely want to correct the Springer report. I am curious about the rationale behind the 10,000 square feet for the duplex as opposed to 6,000, what we've been doing for some time. Understand Boone County is by we're a city, we're a municipality. Tend to be a little bit more close together. So I'm curious if are you going to expound on that?
Certainly. With single family homes and duplexes, any builder can go out and build those. A builder cannot build a threeplex or a fourplex or anything above that without having an architectural plan. The architect provides an additional layer of safety because they know the codes and everything. It has to do with protecting the home. And if my understanding that, I won't say all cities, but the cities that I know of, where you have, you know, the R1, the R2, and the R3, even under R3, the duplex rules apply. That's pretty much standard across the board. And the reason for that is the difference between having an architect involved and not having.
So trying to get to why a duplex should be 10,000 square feet instead of 6,000.
Just because of the difference in having an architect versus not having an architect. You have bigger you have more room on the lot for your setback, fire codes and everything like that.
Don, can I ask a quick clarifying question? So are you trying to say that you fear if a duplex is placed in R3 as a city moving forward, it would require an architect?
No. A duplex does not require an architect by state law. By state law, it's anything 3 families or more.
Again, I'm trying to get to the point of why the board wants to move to 10,000 square feet for a duplex.
Because the statement that came out as I was there in the consultant matter of being at the meeting was to align with the IBC, because if you go to 10,000 square feet, it's held to an architectural drawing, which it holds a lot more, there's a lot more expectations of the bill versus the other. This is aligned to the IBC code, is what Mr. Mayor told us that night. It should be aligned that way. That's the main crux of why we're considering that, because it does put it to where you have to have architectural drawings and it aligns to the IBC code, and then it can go to.
But you don't need architectural drawings for a duplex.
No.
And I believe that Don Mormon, I'm not Don, Brian Maynard and your so, said that he agreed with the wording, that it needed to align with that, with Boomtown. That was concerned, but it didn't speak specifically to the law. Thank you.
Right, and that's why I'm still trying to get to the, why is there a recommendation for duplex that does not have drawings, we're setting all the architectural drawings themselves. Why is the recommendation of PNZ that we change the language from 6,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet for a duplex?
The language in there, that's currently in there is not the best language in the world. But the intent of that, I'm pretty sure, was to require that you meet the duplex requirements, even under R3. That's what Boone County does, that's what the city of Columbia does, that's what all cities that I know of do. And a lot of this has to do with your building codes, your fire codes. It's just good practice to keep more land in the duplex. You know, otherwise, if you're going to change that and you're going to go with something less, then you can allow a house of 2,500 square feet under R3.
So when you look at R2 is the duplex.
R2 is the duplex, right?
And my understanding is that because R3 can allow what R2 does, we needed to clean up the language of R3 so that we were not, in fact, allowing something different for like a duplex as well, to happen in R3.
Otherwise, nobody would ever apply for an R2.
So it is allowed in R2, is allowed in R3, but because of the
Language.
density,
Yeah.
so R3 allows higher density. And you can always change at any point lot size amongst the areas from R2 to R3, holding some standards. So you could have a builder come at a 10,000 square foot lot, which I think is the requirement in R2 for a duplex. And they could be allowed to build a duplex on 10,000 square feet in R3 if they wanted to. But as a board in a city, you can say because of the density requirements in R3, it tends to be more dense, you can trim the lot size if you want to. The way it's drafted now, or what was originally discussed, which was what's put back forward, which is PNZ suggesting 10, but single family and a duplex is 6,000. So that is the minimum lot size for those two types of buildings under the proposed ordinance. Is that helpful?
Again, what I heard earlier from was that, was to change the minimum lot size for a duplex to 10,000 square feet.
That's what I heard.
And now, originally,
And either.
That's the difference.
That's how we got it all.
And what they recommend.
I was just trying to find out why that recommendation was made.
Was the current recommendation for planning and zoning, R3, 6 or 10,000 square feet?
The current recommendation from planning and zoning put forth was 6,000 for single family and 10,000 for duplex, consistent with our two size for duplex, which was 10,000, is what we wanted to clean up that language in the R3 code. And when you start looking at that and how it's interpreted, it is interpreted a few different ways when people are looking at the R3 code and deciding what kind of structure they can build on 6,000 versus 10,000 versus, 11,000. And that was where we were coming from.
Long talk with the county planner, on this matter. And this guy is somebody that I respect. He knows his stuff about planning. He studied the law on planning when he was in school. And he says this goes against all principles if we do anything other than keep duplex requirement, even under R3 is the same as what it is under R2. He says it's good planning.
Why is the ordinance still stating 6,000 versus what planning is zoning recommendation? And is that part if you do that?
Originally, when you asked me to advance language, you voted out and we discussed advancing a 6,000 square foot lot size, and that's what was contained in the language for single and duplex. Advanced the language to planning and zoning and the city attorney will reconcile the board. They discussed it. Their recommendation is 10,000. This, I can't do this with the board, and this is how you directed me with 6,000. Did not alter the ordinance. We would like to have the ordinance reflect planning and zoning commission's recommendation. We requested that ordinance be drafted for your consideration. As previously, you asked me to draft something reflecting the current 6,000 lot size. That is why that's still recorded. Here's this one.
So this is a question. To set it to 10,000 minimum for duplex or three or not. Based on the planning and zoning support.
Basically, what would happen in these cases, you have more than different. Going to Robert's rules of order, we're not directly of change. It's how procedurally it would go if you want to do this. You will call, and then we'll call, we're about to read the bill the first time. Die, for lack of movement, die for lack of a second, where you can bring it to a vote and people don't approve it. But right now, what's in front of you is that now, if you would like to direct me to do an ordinance with a 10,000 square foot, so you guys are out, that would come in business later.
It does make sense procedurally, and the only reason I want to essentially do a little short call here is to find out whether or not this is something we want to move forward with in its current incarnation.
I would say that straw polls are about to make a motion to read the bill the first time. Straw poll.
Make a motion that we read bill number
2552.
motion that we read as bill number 2552 be given its first reading by title. Second.
Bill number 2552, title only, all in favor? All opposed, please.
2552, a bill to create an ordinance entitled, the ordinance to amend section 31-24 of the Saratoga City Code relating to lot area in R3 zoning district and establishing an effective date. Bill number 2552 be given its second reading.
Second. First and second is bill number 2552, be given second reading by title only, all in favor? All opposed, passes, please.
An ordinance to amend section 31-24 of the Central Office Code relating to lot area in R3 zoning district and establishing an Bill number 2552 to be adopted by roll call.
Approve the roll call vote, all in favor? All opposed? Pass the roll call vote, please.
Alderman Rosini.
No.
No.
Alderman Woodley.
Again.
Alderman Decker.
No.
Alderman Rogers.
No.
Alderman Magley.
No.
Bill dies for lack of support. Is there any further discussion on what the board would like to do?
Come on up. Yeah.
Unless I'm missing the people, the time of this stuff, it was like,
I think we need to agree with the planning zone is recommending for R3, and that's 10,000 per lot for R3, so we like the draft.
We ought to keep up with Boone County codes.
So,
I mean, for the most part.
come back, they can answer. Very please. Yes, we do. Back in the board. So Boone County and what's considered multifamily are in the audit density. So for them, a single family home is not make sure, right, these numbers is 7,000 square feet, single family, 10,000 per two.
I believe that's correct, yes.
So if we're looking at this and looking at changing the R3 to specifically match Boone County, in addition to clarifying single, duplex, multifamily, are you also wanting the lot size layout in the
Yeah, send that back to the zoning.
Yeah, we didn't make a recommendation on 7,000 square feet.
We only recommend.
Well, I'm just asking because of actual in language, if you guys want to actually what Boone there's that for single family.
like the advice of planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning review,
We were,
county.
yeah, well, we did, yes, but we were focused mostly on the duplex sizing of the lot. That was the most confusing piece of the language in the R3 code. I think that we would entertain, I have zoning people here, but I think we should entertain the matching the lot for lot sizing with Boone County. That just cleans it up going forward, then there's no question that we're
I'm not gonna send it back.
do that.
I think we send it back.
Yeah.
And we just let's do this one way.
But just so everyone knows, if you do go forward with this, there will be other sections of your zoning code, including R2, because what's allowed R3, R2, plus you're going to have like a Russian doll. There will need to be planning and zoning if they choose to make minimum lot size for single family 7,000 in that times. It may not just impact R3, so it may be a bit more of an expensive. Which is fine, but everyone knows
It just seems best to me that we take care of all occupations of lots. Residential categories.
So you good with that? No, that moves us to the old business.
The appointments and next time, 5-year term.
Second, the first, second, for, Susan House-Star, 5-year term of planning and zoning commission, all in favor? All opposed? Congratulations. Oh, shit.
She's like, before we just put it on there, she can.
Thank you for doing that, I appreciate the work on it, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's all I had, it was to see that.
So I did change my report up a little bit, like we talked about last month, and it's from the last meeting we had through basically Friday. A lot that went on last month and into this month. I've had a lot of meetings with our department heads. We've gone over the budget. We're getting to be right around halfway through the budget year, so we wanted to go through big conversations about what the end of the year can hold and possibly what we need to look forward into next year for. It was a lot of meetings too. Anybody have any questions or anything?
The two streets you evaluated.
We evaluated Country Club and there was a spot on, over on Adeline. We had a contractor had a question about whether or not it was a street that was causing problems.
One block of getting chance. West of the railroad track. Right up the way towards the street.
We are working with Sydney and I and Matthew and Clayton are working with Brightspeed to work on a joint pole agreement. They own approximately 240 poles inside the city limits. If we do have equipment on, so we're working on it. Both us and them. I did hear back from, sorry, who went to, her name is, I'm checking into getting the tree inventory done for the city. I've got to, contact a gentleman out of Jeff City and, get the information in. They have already given out all of their funds for that. So we're just gonna see what we can do this year to get that tree inventory done, so we can start with our few trees, get them. See what we can do. I'm hoping to get them spaced. In the next 3 to 4 years, have all of, not most of them cut down. They're getting.
So I can have them report the falls on somebody or something.
Need to keep theirs.
We do have an auditor. She was in the office last week. We got her set up. She's been working on it remotely and getting us spotted. She's still working on it.
Anything else, Mr. Who's your city attorney?
We're working on great season and taking some time. I mean, full inventory of language. You know, what will the contract look like? We've got a teams meeting and a couple of other things. Here on that with myself with great team. You know, what that should look like. How we can do a lot of different time, obviously reviewing interpretation back from there. Share both on taking those, right? So that's the topic right now. So mental breach right now on public forum. So I'm giving public interpretation. My interpretation of our statute are working only the city have the authority provided. So Tara and the mayor will basically legally know how to work class city under statute. They don't actually tell you who can vote. But in your ordinances, because the duties outlined in an alderperson and a mayor function for something like one of the skilling board in the state of Missouri, if it is not delegated in your duties, it's not granted. So basically, states that it requires 3 citizens to transact. So that to me leads me to believe that only those 5 citizens can vote. So if 3 citizens make a form of transact business, they're the ones that can vote, very much like the Board of Alderman here, right? The city has to have some other person to conduct business via a quorum, even though Kara, myself, and Marilyn said here as staff advisors, we don't get to vote. Neither does the mayor unless there's a tie. So that leads me to believe that the ordinance is only those 5 citizens vote, but the other individuals are vital to the performance of your family. Question was posed to Kara about possibly expanding the number of opinions and the authority, and it is allowable.
If I were a citizen, and I think about what things look like, right, because I believe in transparent, and I think for us, we need to be there in an advisory capacity, and shouldn't really be weighing in with our thoughts towards driving the recommendation from the voting group, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, because then it's gonna come to us. So if we've been involved in helping to lead and orchestrate, discuss where the outcome ends up being as a recommendation to us, I don't like the feeling of it. I think it looks like that we have the ability to form what we want to do. So I think we should stay out of it and be there as an advisor, in whatever capacity we need as far as knowing about whatever may be the street stuff, Phil's there, and council, and for me, and what it would be an answer for us to give them an answer regarding something to do with policy procedure for us, what happens if people, what it may be, something like that. It's kind of been a little bit of everything. It's going to ask the question like we question, it would, have we voted on some things that we would have to be undone or go back on? No, because if they're making a recommendation, we're the board that votes, okay, so, but I think that needs to be separate from what our role is being in attendance at that meeting and what our engagement is in that discussion versus what is presented to us and what we decide to do with it, if that makes sense.
No, I agree in full. We shouldn't be in a position where aldermen are both voting on the recommendation and then voting on.
Or now we're not voting, but we're not voting now, but at the same time, if we're strongly involved in helping to get to the final recommendation, that kind of stuff, there's some way of how involved will we get where we want to be potentially. That would never be done in detention. And anybody I know or dealt with or be involved with, but I think for the look of it, I think we get really careful with that. So moving forward, I want to be really cognizant of that. And I would get into that group. Understand that. That makes sense.
Been dealing, although the election is down the road, by the way, been dealing with county election. So it's crazy to think that at the end of next week, we're in November already, which is supposed to be the election in November. So just to clarify, Boone County has designated all voters will vote at the Impact Solutions Building. In the past, we had from here at City Hall, but they'll all be at the Impact Building.
You've got what they can add with 2 precincts or
All voting.
No, presidential election.
Another reminder that Phil Hoffman's last day is in a couple of weeks again, first, and we'll have a reception for him. Also been working with, just to bring everybody up to speed, we've had a Daters dog hearing designation in the past month. That individual did comply with all of the requirements in the ordinance, and the dogs have been returned. Your home is the trainer.
We got the other
Documents.
we've got the other dangerous dogs, we're still hanging that.
And then not been designated.
Well, she said it had been to a level of danger, so she couldn't deal against the folks that, I'll follow.
I've never seen any.
Because it's getting out of hand. I'm gonna get to the call from these people on the line, they can't be able to call. And we've dealt with it several times from the police department and everything else, so we're gonna have to get it handled, and I think we're waiting on the prosecutor, and they keep thinking, push it off. You know, if we got a dog that seems dangerous, it needs to be gotten on the dock, and got through. And I think he's got the right location. Until they figure something out. There's a couple levels of that. There's no straight level, I think, as far as
Right. They need to notify me when it's
I call it the branch.
not in my.
So I'll follow up on that and get that you all know. Thank you for what you're all doing. That moves us to, item 14, closed session.
Moving on to closed session, during the meeting, Board of Alderman may elect to go to closed session and hold a closed vote. Closed session and closed vote shall be one, as provided for under section 610.0211, revised statutes of Missouri for legal other acting involving the public governmental body, confidential or privileged communications between public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys, and non-preparation, including any discussions or work product on behalf of the public governmental body or its representatives for negotiations with employee groups.
Alderman Rosanne.
Or
Alderman Decker. Alderman Rogers.
We are returning to open session, closed session. There were no votes taken other than the vote to come back into open session. That puts us now at the point that, as they rise,
Since we do have, a team member here, I would very much like to encourage people, this is board meeting, for to please exercise your franchise, exercise your right and responsibility as a citizen and vote. It is absolutely necessary to the proper functioning of a democracy. Really not. Really not.
By the way.
I thought I heard that he just.
Thank you very much.